Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Ted here. Got a lot on my mind, so I'm just going to go. Work ethic has always been a huge part of my life. It's been instilled in me since I was young. Working with my dad since I was a kid, before I was a teenager. He would actually take me to work and teach me how to do things and pay me. And from there, I learned to do things more and more on my own. And he would leave me to do bigger jobs by myself and pay me more. And I realized early on that, the things I wanted, if I worked for them, I then could have them. It wasn't given to me. The opportunity to learn to work was given to me, but the things I wanted were not given to me. They were earned through hard work. And I also learned that from watching my family, that we're just a working family. Everybody works, everybody earns things, and nobody's crying the blues if they don't get what they didn't earn. That's how I grew up. And from there, I fast forward into getting into working out, exercise, training. It wasn't necessarily training, it was going to the gym and kind of just trying to get physical. And I kind of fell in love with the weight room early on, and began training with the school teams, wrestling teams, and the football teams in the weight room when the athletes were in there doing their training sessions with the guy that was running the weight room. I don't know if he was a certified strength coach or not, but he was the guy running the room, and he seemed knowledgeable, and he took me under his wing, even though I was not on the wrestling team or the football team. He helped devise a plan for me to do work, to learn, to get stronger. He asked me about my goals, and we talked about them, and then it was just, put on muscle, be bigger. It wasn't necessarily anything for performance. It was more just, I just wanted to learn how to work out, really, and I think he knew that. And so he would teach me and help me, and I'd kind of partner up with some of the kids on the football team and live with them and, friends with them, and then that kind of turned into being friends with those athletes and getting a gym membership. I remember my first gym membership. I went there with a friend of mine and also another friend of mine who was just finished his senior year. Maybe he was in his senior year. I can't quite remember, but we were, we came from lifting together in the room with that the guy running the weight room I was telling you about in high school. So he was my training partner. And we went to a commercial gym. It wasn't a franchise or anything, just a local gym. Actually, part owned by a power lifter who I didn't know at the time. I just saw this dude who was jacked, man. He was big, muscular, and he had a jacket on that said he benched 500 or something on the back. It was like I guess a trophy jacket, it was cool. I was 500 bench press. Who the heck could do that? And he wasn't a huge dude, tall or anything. He was my height, 5'5". So anyway, so that was all kind of cool and inspiring. And I just got more into lifting, and I started taking what I was taught in the high school weight room and what I would read. I was reading Flex magazines, always reading, training, reading. This is pre-internet, or maybe there was the internet, but not everybody had it. I sure didn't have it then. And so it was magazines, and I would read, and I would apply, and then I would help people. I would help people in the weight room. I would help people in the gym. I would also ask tons of questions by the older people. A lot of people saw that even though I was young, about 18 or 19 at this time, young, I was very passionate about what I was doing. So I got a lot of help from people that had experience outside of the experience I had. They were good influences. I had a lot of good influences around me. And from there, I just continued to pass on what I knew and absorb as much as I could and learn. And I developed this, like, I didn't recognize it necessarily at the time, but I developed this passion for helping others in what I was passionate about, which was, strength. Really, it was really like strength training. I was never a bodybuilder. Like, the workouts back then, at least what I was exposed to, were much more like bodybuilding type of workouts, meaning, chest day or chest and try, back and by, leg day type of thing. So we're splitting it up in muscle groups as opposed to movement patterns. But anyway, so I started developing this passion for that, and bounced around to a couple gyms, and lifting was just always in my life, always part of what I did, and watching others get stronger just was really cool to me. So, and if I had any part of helping them, it felt really awesome. So fast forward a few years of doing that kind of stuff, and working hard as an HVAC mechanic, learning that trade, going to work every day. I started doing that at about 17 years old, and progressed through that, got some education through that, certifications, finished some schooling, and got into the union, which was another 5 years of schooling. So my career at the time was dedicated to learning to be a HVAC refrigeration mechanic. But my passion always was in the background of exercise and strength and things like that. So fast forward a few years, like I was saying, and I meet a guy in the gym who takes me under his wing, and he actually happened to be the guy that was the part owner of that first gym that I ever belonged to outside of the school gym. And he was a veteran in powerlifting. He was around for decades, multiple decades, world records, and traveled the globe competing in powerlifting, and kind of saw some talent in me. And as he put it, and I didn't think of like training necessarily as talent, he's like, oh, you're really talented, come work out with me if you want. And I was like, oh, cool, talented at what? He's like, just come squat with us, I guess he liked the way I was squatting and saw my intent amongst all the other people in a commercial gym, because a commercial gym scene, especially franchise type gyms, is weird. You get a big mix of different levels of dedication. We'll just leave it at that. So he must have recognized my dedication to self-improvement, and took me under his wing, started helping me, which then progressed to me becoming very interested in powerlifting and strength sports on the competitive side, right? I always liked World's Strongest Man and had an interest in powerlifting and training and head cone and things like that. But now it was like time for myself to be the athlete, to be the competitor, which I fell in love with right away. We did a lot of training. I felt it was really awesome. Watched a couple of meets, got inspired by a bunch of lifters, inspirations all around. Just continue to be inspired and getting after it, setting my own goals. And I started learning a lot about powerlifting, started competing, started meeting a lot of people. And from there, I really just kind of went all in. Like, I still had my HVAC refrigeration career in the union, going to work every day, making money, doing good money, progressing in that. Meanwhile, I started really helping lots of people at powerlifting and learning, like really got into the learning. I would go to powerlifting meets that I wasn't even competing in, and I would go to the back room to help people out. I knew some people, so if I knew people that were going, hey, I'm going to come by and help you, help spot, help load, help progress them through the meets. I was kind of like volunteering to be a handler for athletes, and then there would be people in there that I didn't know, and I would talk with them, help them if they needed. We'd talk training. Like, I was just on the ground floor, literally applying what I knew and learning as much as I could, similar to what I did when I was in high school, but it was actually more leveled up now because I was smarter, a little older, more mature. So I was kind of doing it for a different purpose of really learning how to help people, because I wanted to also begin coaching athletes in powerlifting. I wanted to take and do what I loved, powerlifting, with others. So I wanted to be around it as much as I could, and I made sure I was. A lot of Powerlifting USA. Now we have the internet, so YouTube videos, lots of learning, and from there, I'm a father, have a young son, and he's getting involved in sports, which I always encouraged, and I would take him to his practices, and I would see the kids, and I would notice that in these sports, and these youth sports, baseball per se, that was his first sport, that he really took to. He did a little soccer, but he got into that baseball, and there was like no fitness aspect to it at all. Now these kids are young, right? So I don't necessarily say that these 7-8-year-olds needed to look like super physically fit athletes like you would hope a college level athlete would look like, but I'm like, wow, they're just walking out on this field and start throwing the ball. Where's the exercise component? Well, how are we we're building them into baseball players with no athletic or fitness component to it at all, right? The only running was they'd line up and then they'd run the bases when it was their turn to hit the ball or whatever, or what. I really started to see this disconnect in fitness that I was learning so much about, and learning how strength and conditioning for sport is super important. And these young kids aren't running around, they're not doing a stretch routine, they're not doing anything dynamic and physically fit. So now my son's about 8 or 9 years old, I started learning about coaching, and really wanted to help the kids. It came down to I took what I liked for myself of helping people and strength training that I was learning so much about, and realized that I can help kids with this. And if kids can get this concept of strength training and strength and conditioning and physical fitness early, then it'll carry on and for the rest of their lives and have a huge impact, like nothing else. It's you could do it forever. And if we can, if I can help people learn that early on and find that healthy lifestyle through strength and strong mind, because the mental aspect of training is so important, and the mental aspect of being strong physically carries over to being strong emotionally. And when life is really hard, you have to do hard things and practice to deal with the unexpected hard times that will come your way. That happens in life. Life is not easy for anyone, and unexpected hard times and hard challenges are coming your way. And if you don't put yourself in a mental space where you are challenging yourself and your inner dialogue is challenged, and you're talking yourself in and out of doing the things that you should be doing, but you don't want to do them because they're uncomfortable. If you don't practice that, then when life throws that curveball at you, right, proverbial curveball, you may not be ready. And I want to get people ready. I want to get these kids ready for life, not just for sports, but for life. So I started helping out my son, and then his friends, and then the baseball team, and then he was on a basketball team, and I started helping out the basketball team with a dynamic stretch and a dynamic warm-up. And then I met a dear friend of mine who told me and recognized that the way I just was voluntarily helping people in his facility one day, I was there as a guest, and I partnered up with a high school kid, a wrestler, and we were deadlifting together because he knew I was a power lifter. He's like, "Oh, go deadlift with this guy. He's deadlifting today." Cool. So I started doing that. Started giving him some pointers. Pulls me to the side when we're done. We're just talking, and tells me, people like you and me, meaning himself and me, are put on this earth to get others strong. It's like like what we're here for. And a light bulb clicked. I'm like, that's it. I've been doing this all along and not necessarily recognizing that I am put here to do that. That's my purpose. Like that's the value that I can bring to people. That's my direction. That's my North Star. That's where I've been going this whole time. And it was right in front of my face. I didn't recognize it. To be like, whoa, I need to go all in on this. Like, that's my talent, right? But the guy that recognized my talent in a squat, yeah, cool, right? I'm squatting pretty good. Sure, my talent wasn't the squat, being a squatter, right? My talent was being passionate about that, sharing that passion with others so they can find their passion, right? They can find their goals and they can do hard, challenging things and reap the rewards of overcoming the struggles, and also reap the reward of failing at struggle, because if you learn from a failure, you don't really fail, right? So that's when I decided to take how I was helping these young student athletes and helping powerlifters, merge it all together and create this strength and conditioning business that I'm in now, right? So went to seminars, multiple courses, certifications, business courses. I started learning about business. I was never like thought of myself as going to be a business owner. But when I coupled that with being able to help these kids and share things, I knew that I needed to create my own business so I could drive that, right? The business is the vehicle for me to share what I do, right? Like, I obviously, businesses make money, right? I need money to keep the business alive, but the money is not the driver of what I do. The money is the oxygen. It keeps the thing going, but the thing is helping people get better at life through strength training. And I love every aspect of that. Like, watching kids get stronger, awesome. Watching them move better, great. Watching them perform better in our training, having a direct carryover to performing better in the sport they're passionate about is amazing. But the best part for me is that character building, that connection with the athlete, watching them change as young men and women with confidence and that culture of work ethic, and showing them that it is okay to stand out against the common people if you're standing out in a way that shows you're hardworking, right? Like, it is all right to work hard. It is all right to skip the downtime, the fooling around time, to do something and dedicate yourself to that something that is of a positive benefit to your life. And I share that both through the way I conduct myself and speak to my athletes. And speaking to these athletes in that way and living my life in that way, rubbing off on them is the best part. To, like, parents or the athletes themselves, but parents will say, like, so-and-so's got so much better grades since they started training with you, or so-and-so has been making their bed every morning and they can't wait to go back to the gym. So-and-so looks up to you. So-and-so says you're their role model. Or they may not even say it. The parent may say, like, I know you're my son's role model. I can just see it the way he speaks of you. And, like, that feels good to me to know. And that is not something I take lightly, to know that I have this role in these people's lives that I wouldn't know otherwise. Like, all the people connection I have is because I have met these athletes through this passion of mine. This thing I started has brought me in touch with so many different athletes and parents and families that I would have otherwise never have met. They have all made me and continue to make me a better me, right? So I am eternally grateful to be connecting and helping them, Because at the exact same time, simultaneously, while I share how to do these things with them, work out, live a strong life, they simultaneously make me feel like I'm making a difference, and they're keeping me accountable to being strong and committed and living a strong life. Like, I just love it. I love the fact that it's a system of, I know all my athletes. I text them. I text their parents. They're not. Nobody comes to me and is just a face. All right, they are people, and I take that with great respect. And they are people I care about. That's why we have a tryout, because I want people in our gym. We don't just accept everyone. We have a tryout because I don't want battery drainers in the gym. They may be good, but they're not going to fit in our culture, because our culture in our gym is one of hard work and dedication. Our athletes are or become self-starters, and we can't have people in the gym that's always woe is me, woe is me. I would love to help them, right? But they need to help themselves a little bit, and they need to come in and work hard. It's a tryout, because I can't have a culture of negativity in our gym when we are a culture of competitive, positive environment. Now, I know I just said a whole lot, and this video has been going on a lot longer than I thought. I've been talking a lot to you guys, but the reason I'm doing that is because I am so grateful for anyone, even haters, that would be listening to this video or coming to my gym. Some people try out and they don't make it, right? And maybe they don't like me. They're, oh man, that coach was too hard, or that place ain't for me. Forget that guy or whatever. It's all good. If you're taking the time to interact with me in some way in my life, then I am grateful to have you, because you all make me a better me. And life is all about that connection of finding out who you are. All right? So that's in a nutshell of who I am, what I do, what drives me, and why I keep doing this stuff. TNT is still growing strong. 2013 started really digging into it as TNT and calling it TNT. And it's 2021. We're still getting after it, still crushing it, still impacting lives in a positive way. So I'm going to part ways with that and leave you with our motto, which is work hard, feel good. Bye.